American schools are failing, and that's according to a new report. Middle school test scores, they're falling faster than any time in the past 50 years. Parasitic teachers unions and left-wing administrators have taken over, and they don't want to help students. One teachers union executive in Virginia defended the learning loss. That was associated with remote learning. You remember those COVID edicts, the schools shutting down. But she defended them by saying they made everyone, quote, equal. Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin ran against the corrupt education establishment, and he won. He joins us. Welcome, Governor.
Hey, good evening. Thank you for having me. And this is just another example of what the left liberal progressive establishment is trying to do to our children. I mean, we watched Randi Weingarten come out and advocate for keeping schools shut when, in fact, they needed to be open. And, of course, in Virginia, where we had Democrat rule that lowered expectations and standards for our kids year after year, they combined, and we're seeing the results. In Virginia's own testing last year, we saw that, in fact, our fourth grade kids had the largest learning loss in the nation in reading and math.
Wow.
Combined closing schools unnecessarily with the fact that expectations had to be lowered, and we've got a whole generation of kids that are behind. And so we got to go to work to catch them back up.
We do. And I believe a lot of voters have seen you, seen what you're doing, and supporting what you're doing. And I mean, to have a Republican winning on the issue of education, it's almost unheard of, but you did it in winning Virginia. Virginia, of course, a state no presidential candidate on the Republican side has won since George W. Bush. You won the state, though. You had these endorsements in your primary race this week. You were 10 for 10. Your candidate's winning by 18-point margins, 40-point margins. How central was the issue of education to those victories?
Well, it's going to continue to be central. And let me just remind you that, in fact, Virginia was a state that was completely blue. And education has always been a topic that Republicans have kind of shied away from. And we ran right to it because, of course, Loudoun County became ground zero for parents' rights and for breaking through the established standards that the school unions get to dictate what happens in schools. And this is now the top issue across not just Virginia, but I think America. And this year we have our own midterms. Our primaries were a great moment for us to once again reclaim education as a Republican stronghold. We're going to carry it all the way through to our elections in November. And this is no longer just Republicans against Democrats. This is Virginians, and I think eventually it'll be Americans who much prefer the fact that Republicans are standing up for our kids and empowering parents versus Democrats who are just in lockstep with the teachers' unions and Randi Weingarten.
You know, one question I have is the Achilles heel of the primary. It was a huge night for you. I don't want to take away from that. But the only pro-life Democrat lost his race. Abortion was a key issue. This is coming from a pro-life American, but my eyes are open to the political realities on the issue. How do you message on that issue as you head into these general elections in the fall?
Well, of course, in Virginia, just 3 years ago, there were debates on our General Assembly floor controlled by Democrats to pass constitutional amendments that would enable abortion all the way up through birth and paid for with funding from the state. And that Virginians think is too extreme. They expressed it in 2021. They want fewer abortions, not more. After the Supreme Court ruling came out, we came together and really felt we could bring people together around a bill to protect life at 15 weeks. And I believe that's a place Virginians will come together. And so this is a moment for us to make progress on this issue. And I look forward again to getting our legislators to hopefully bring forth a bill to protect life at 15 weeks this next legislative cycle after we hold our House and win our Senate.
Worth remembering your predecessor, Governor Ralph Northam. He actually wanted infanticide, children outside of the womb. We'll never forget that statement. But final question for you. So if you win in the fall, which you could take back the Senate from the Democrats. You could have unified Republican control in what was previously a blue state of Virginia. Remarkable to think about. But the question becomes then, are you waiting on the sidelines for 2024? There will be a lot of people saying, run, Youngkin, run, should that happen in the fall.
Well, it's a humbling question, and I'm always reminded that 40 years ago, I was taking out trash and washing dishes, and for having to have a moment where people are considering that topic for me is truly humbling. Let me just be clear. I'm focused on Virginia. We are going to win our Senate back this year, hold our House, and continue this big transformation. A state that was blue and was really lost and people thought was gone forever. We have turned red. We have had great success in pushing forward an agenda to cut taxes and to back the blue and to empower parents. We're growing and it's working. And it's not just Republicans anymore that are recognizing. And that's what's so exciting. So I look forward to this fall and making sure that we complete the effort that we started in making Virginia red.
Well, Governor Youngkin, a lot of people are going to keep asking you that question until you say categorically no. But thank you so much. You're doing a lot right there in Virginia.
Great. Thank you for having me tonight.
All right. Democrats, they appear willing to eradicate